Good morning, everyone, and welcome to A Soulful Pause. I'm Josette Diaz, and I'm a self-awareness coach for women in midlife, and I specialize in those ladies that are high achieving, which I honestly do feel most of us are those women. So hold on a second. Something's going on here. See, okay. I don't know if you could hear all that, but hopefully it didn't sound terrible on your end. Okay, so that's what's fun about going live is you never know what's going to happen. So as I was saying, I have a beautiful community that I've created. It's now called the Art of Awareness, formerly known as an Artist Guide to Journaling. I'm getting you used to the name because it officially changes in January. And this is a great community of women who are looking to lift their awareness so that they can become more empowered through a process of ease, tapping into the creative process so that they can create their own art language, their own connection to their rhythm within, and start receiving revelations. So, I'm going to have a beautiful guest on this morning. You guys are in for a real treat. Veronica Simon is with me, and Veronica is a woman on the go. I mean, she has so many great things going on. She's a international author. She has written a book called Soul Engagement and Soul Runner. So she has two powerful books out there. And she also has a nonprofit called Mothers of Virtue Incorporated. And we're going to have a really great conversation with her because she fits right into the conscious women that are shifting the world paradigm by helping women in that space relate, relax, and release. And she does retreats with those three pillars. And I'm super excited to talk to her and have this conversation. So hang in there with us for just a moment. We will be right back.
Ladies, are you the one who gets it all done? Always pushing forward? Always striving? In the constant chase for success, when was the last time you took a moment just for you? We're always on the go, rushing from one task to the next, barely pausing to catch our breath. What if we took a moment to pause? Imagine listening in, really listening, to the wind, to your heartbeat, to your soul. What if slowing down was the key, a chance to discover a deeper connection with yourself? And from that connection expand it to those you love, to the moments that truly matter. Pause, reflect, connect. It's time to live fully from the inside out.
Welcome, Veronica. I'm so excited to have this conversation, as I was telling the audience a moment ago. And I'd like to just start off by welcoming you and bringing ourselves into the room. So let's just take a deep breath together. Ah, so nice to see you.
It's nice to see you as well. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, I'm so excited you're here. Just so everyone knows, I met Veronica at a wonderful networking group that I belong to, and we just really connected. And so I said, "You've got to come on." And so here she is, and I'm just so excited you're here. I'd like to start our conversation off with asking you, because of the work that you do and the books that you've written around empowerment and women, and I do want to get to those too, but I would like to just kind of start off the tone with what does it mean to you to create a space where women feel safe and supported to explore who they are?
Oh, good question. And I'm going to kick off my shoes real quick. This
Yes.
is the girl in me. Okay, so I'm from the South. Um, what does it mean to me to foster such an environment? It means having a place where women can truly express themselves without fear of judgment,
Mhm.
or harm, because sometimes we can be in a room and it just feels like you feel little compared to everybody else, depending on your mindset, right? So I create spaces so that women can come in the room. You leave your titles at the door. It doesn't matter who you are or
Yeah.
what your title is. And that's the ask when you're registering for one of my retreats. I ask you to leave that at the door, check yourself at the door, and you just walk in authentically naked and not afraid. And that we talked about the mask yesterday, in the meeting that you and I were in. And I expressed how I have asked the ladies to remove their eyelashes. I have asked them to take the makeup off of their faces. And sometimes if you've got something on your head, like I did on yesterday and even today, I will ask them to take that off so that you are truly comfortable standing in your true self. Now,
Mm.
with all of that stuff on, does that mean that you can't be your true self? No, but most of the time we will make ourselves over because we're concerned of what others will say about us, how we
Yeah.
may appear to them. When if
Mhm.
we're rising in ourselves authentically with nothing on, we're forecasting to them that we're more than comfortable in being
Yeah,
ourselves.
that's right. And I think that, this reminds me when you were speaking about removing everything and allowing yourself to just be, you know, face naked, you know, nothing else adorning in that way. It reminds me of teenage girls. My oldest daughter did this when, I hope she doesn't mind me saying this. I don't think she will. When they start wearing makeup. I mean, she used to put, like, eyeliner on, because it helped her to feel confident
Mhm.
because it's the mask that we start to put on, and we do this just naturally, especially as women, I think. I think many of us do, right? I
I
mean.
would say for me, I struggle in that area. So I'm on the struggle bus. I posted a couple of days ago stating how I never learned really how to put makeup on. Uh,
Mhm.
it's been taught to me several times, and I've still not picked it up. All I can do is Vaseline, lip liner that forms my lips, or I get some
Yeah.
lipstick and put it on, as my grandmother would say, "Girl, paint your lips." So I would do that. The eyeliner, I put the eyeliners on my eyes, and most of the time I'm sticking myself in my eyes, and it's messing up my contacts because I wear contacts. So I'll
Been
have that
there.
moment. I don't put like eyelashes on because I don't know how to do it. And sometimes it just irritates me because it flutters so much. And I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
God, I'm about to take off. So therefore it's different. And I used to feel as a woman that maybe I was odd. I mean, I grew up as a tomboy
Mhm.
and I still am tomboyish. I have my moments where I still feel feminine though when I
Yeah.
put on my lipstick and maybe the eyeliner itself, but everything else, and oh, if my hair is done, then I feel totally awesome, totally
Yeah,
and
yeah.
femininely strong, if that's a word.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and so when women do come in and they take everything off, what is the experience like for most women from the feedback you've received?
I want to say from the time, I think it was the one before the last one or the last retreat that I had here in San Diego,
Mhm.
when I asked them and we were in a room. I like small, intimate environments. So the room was
Yeah.
nice. It was small, and we were in a horseshoe setup for that
Mhm.
one. And they just looked at me, but they were already prepared, so they already came in, just naked and not afraid. And if they were, or either naked and afraid, but willing to be okay to be in that room, knowing that one, you're in a safe space.
Right.
What happens in this room stays in this room. This is for us to be able to have honest, open communication with one another. Because sometimes it's hard. You can look at another female and you just thinking, oh my gosh, there's no way I can have a relationship with that female because of the way that she's carrying herself and the way
Mhm.
that I see myself in comparison. Etc.
Yeah.
And that may be because she's all made up. Now I don't know what she
Mhm.
looks like when she takes everything off. That may make me feel a little bit more comfortable and even keel. But how do we level ourselves up where it doesn't matter? And
Yeah.
how we do that first is with ourselves. We have to be
Mhm.
comfortable with our own selves,
Mhm.
regardless of how somebody else is showing up. and be authentic.
That's right. And I think that is a very difficult thing for women to do, because we're always, I think most women, a majority of women are raised to put everybody else in front of them.
Yes.
And because of that, we have to present ourselves in certain ways, right? Like we have, I don't know about you, but this has been my experience, and the women that I've worked with often have had that sensation of they, because they put everyone above them, they have these preconceived ideas that they need to show up a certain way.
Mm.
And so showing up a certain way means that they have to look a certain way, behave a certain way, answer a certain way. And so all of that contributes to the appearance that you have. So asking women to really let all that go has to be pretty alarming for most of those women.
It,
Um,
mm,
yes, go ahead.
I would say it is, but once they come to understand the why behind it,
Yeah, yeah,
it's it will motivate them to then become authentically inclined to understand and recognize who they are. And it's having that mirror. So
mhm,
whenever you come to one of my retreats, I give mirrors to
mm,
everybody as a part of their gift bag. So anything I put in a gift box for anyone that's attending the retreat, we're going to use every single thing in that gift bag in that retreat so that I know, one, I didn't just spend my money and wasted it, but
yeah,
also that you are actually going to use it. We're going to show you how to use it in the
yeah,
retreat. And one of them is the mirror. Who are you
mhm,
are when you're looking at yourself in the mirror? So you see the made up version of you in the mirror. Is it the same person that you see when you don't have your makeup on, you don't have your hair on, if you have hair that you have to put on or whatever? How are you feeling? Is it the same person, or did you just shift to be
yeah.
something different?
Oh, that's really good, deep stuff. Because I'm curious how women actually, how do you get them? So when they walk away, I'm sure they walk away with a different understanding of who they are, like before they walked in, right? So what a powerful retreat space that you're creating in the first place. And what really intrigues me is the fact that I just can sense that they do walk away with that, what am I trying to say? With that sensation of, I'm a different person now, that I can actually be more myself. So even when the habits and the patterns come back in, because they will, right?
Mhm.
That's how our mind works. The ego
Mhm.
comes in and says all these things to us, that they know there's a different world.
They do. They do. And I would say this, some of them, it's not that they're showing up differently or they see themselves differently. They have now, they have the confidence to
Right.
realize and bring forth who they know they truly are.
Mm.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's a part of them becoming soul engaged because
Mm.
I had to do it as a mom, as a woman, as a
Mhm.
mom, as a wife. I've
Right.
had to put on whatever was necessary to take care of my family. Right.
Yeah.
So the mom hat, the wife hat, everybody, a hat to take care of everybody but mom to a
Mhm.
degree. Mom
Mhm.
is always last.
Yeah.
Mom
That's
will
right.
take and put everybody first. And in some cases, I will say for me at least, that's what I saw growing up
Yeah.
till I saw some of the women in my life getting sick as they got older. And it was like, okay, what's going on here? It's because they put so much in to everybody else that they kept putting themselves on the back burner. They didn't have time to take
Mhm.
care of themselves. And I want to say, no, yes, yes, we have time to take care
Mhm.
of ourselves. One of the things that I put in the box is a mask, which is really like you're on an airplane. I stole that from the airplane. I really didn't steal it. I borrowed it.
It's a good idea.
So you know how they tell you you need to be able you when the oxygen masks come down,
Right.
You have to put your in on yourself first versus
Yeah.
your child that's with you. If you
Yeah.
have one that's with you, you have to do you first in order for you to be able to take
Hmm.
care of the child that may be with you or anyone else for that matter,
Yeah.
husband, children, work, every and anybody else. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not
Yes.
going to be around to take care of anybody else. Or better yet, you won't be around to live the life that you wished or were dreaming that you could because you put
Hmm.
so much into everybody else without first putting you first.
Yes, and the sooner you do it, the better, right? Because otherwise those dreams continue to move to the background so much that it can be difficult for people to recall them. Because I work with women in midlife, a lot of times they've forgotten what those dreams are. So I take them through a process I created called the golden thread so that they can start to remember and see where it's been showing up for them throughout their life. Yet that's a process. So if you can start off, like you're saying, by recognizing it a little sooner, it makes it so much easier. I read in your bio, and I understand that from your book, you talk about running your own race.
Mhm.
Right? So can you talk a little bit more, expand a little bit more about that? And if you'd like to talk about your books, I would love to hear it.
Okay. Well, running Soul Runner came after Soul Engagement. Soul Engagement was what I needed to really tap into myself. I lost myself completely
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
work and everything else that when it was all said and done, I just felt like I was a shell of a person. I
Yeah.
got, there was a knockdown moment for me in my professional career where I overran because I was in what I felt like competition with in an industry was that was built more for men.
Yeah.
So being in the IT environment and having to level up and having to be in the room, not
Mhm.
just having to be in the room, but wanting to be in the room, wanting to be respected while in the room.
Yeah.
It was different. It was
Yeah.
different. I was so honored for the positioning that I had that it was like, okay, Veronica, I had to do, not that it was mandated of me, but because I was the only one that looked like me at the time, I felt like, okay, I have to always show up at a
Mm.
certain level all the time. Overworked. I didn't set boundaries at all. And it cost me. It cost me. It cost me a nice stay, sizable price stay in the
Yeah.
hospital for a couple of days because I got to a moment where I was operating on fumes. I
Mm.
got home one day, didn't know how I made it out of the garage. I only remember walking to the garage, parking garage at my job and getting in my car, but I didn't know how I got out of the parking garage. I didn't realize that I got on the interstate.
Wow.
I didn't know how I made it home, but I made it home, walked in through the door, and my youngest daughter had asked me if I can help her make
Mhm.
dinner. And that was what I was going to do. So put my stuff down, went to walk over, passed out. To
Oh
me,
my gosh.
I
Yeah.
did to me, I just fell and bounced back
Mhm.
right back up. But my husband, they helped me up and they sat me down and they said, we're taking you to the hospital. And I'm like, I am not going. I am absolutely not going to the hospital. I can't go. I
Yeah.
can't go. I will lose too much if I go. You don't understand. I worked too hard to get where I am. And now you want me to go to the hospital? I said, I'm fine. I'm fine. But I was also the caregiver for my mom at the time.
Mm.
And my mom is a 4-time stroke survivor. So it's
Wow.
having that and then her coming out and then all the kids around me and they're saying to me, Mom, we need you to take care of yourself and you're gonna have to go to the doctor. And I said, if I go to this hospital, if we go, I'm not coming back. They're not gonna let me come back.
Okay.
They're not gonna let me come back because that's not normal. And I knew it wasn't normal.
Right.
And sure enough, I got checked in to the hospital
Mhm.
and my exterior changed. I didn't even look like myself.
Mm.
Fluids, toxins in my body because
Mhm.
of stress. I
Yeah.
overworked myself, not that anybody asked me to. I did that to myself because I
Okay.
felt like in the positioning that I was in, I had to work my, excuse my language, ass off
Yeah. Yeah.
to show that thank you for allowing me to be in this positioning. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to kill it because I don't see many people. I didn't see many people at the time that looked like me
Yeah.
there. And so it was very important for me to be successful and do whatever
Mhm.
it took to be there. And it cost me. It cost me because I didn't have balance. I didn't
Right.
have boundaries. I ended up staying in the hospital for a couple of days. My kids came and visit me once. And because I could see on their face that it was scary for them because I did not look like
Right.
myself. I
Yeah.
didn't look like me.
Yeah.
And so I asked my husband, don't bring them back. I don't want them to see me like this.
Mhm.
Everything shut down. I couldn't take any food in. I couldn't expel any of the toxins in my body. So I was just puffing up. It looked like I
Oh
was
my gosh. Yeah.
pregnant.
Mhm.
I'd be super face swollen. They couldn't get tubes down my nose or down my throat. I was just terrified and trying to, I called out. I'm a believer. I called out to God and I was just like, listen, you've got to help me.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've been disobedient and I want to get this right. I don't want to leave my family. I don't want to give up everything that I've worked so darn hard for because it took me a long time to get here.
Mhm.
Help me. Tell me what I need to do so that I
Yeah.
can get it right. I've got to fix this. I can fix this. I can be obedient. I can align with whatever you tell me I need to do.
Yeah.
And then I asked my husband to bring me my computer. And I said, bring me my personal computer, which means I wouldn't have any work stuff on it.
Mhm.
That's where I started writing.
Mm.
And I started hallucinating a lot. I was on the floor of a hospital where I kept seeing somebody at the window. There wasn't any way somebody could be at that window. But I could swear up and down there was somebody constantly at the window that was having conversations with me. No
Mhm.
way possible that was happening at all. And I kept saying, oh my God, what is going to happen, Lord, if you just give me one more chance? I promise
Mhm.
you, I promise you,
Yeah.
I will do what you tell me to do. I will get off of my high horse. I will stop trying to do it all. And then I will tell my story. I will bear myself before other people and tell my story, knowing that it could potentially cost me what I've worked so hard for. But I was
Mhm.
willing so that others wouldn't have to follow suit
Yes.
or could learn a lesson
Yeah.
from me. Soul engagement came out of that. I started
Mm.
posting on social media. Most of what came, and this is my book. This is soul engagement.
So beautiful.
Most of what came, most of what's in that book is on social
Mhm.
media. All the postings I was doing on social media. Um, my Papa Bear, he said, "Baby Bear, your book is already online." And so I started going back, and I was like, "Okay, how can I pull this stuff?" I pulled it, I organized it, and I put it in a folder. When I moved to San Diego, I met Lisa Nichols.
Mhm.
I went to her event. A dear friend gave me VIP tickets to attend. This is me, what I call getting off the boat here in San Diego for the very first time and going, okay, I don't know anybody, but it's just me and my little family. We're going to be good starting over. Had those tickets. I went. And then I also met Kathy Kidd.
Mm.
She was working with Lisa Nichols in her event. Kathy is the one who did the books. And I was going, okay, this is a setup. This is a straight setup. I keep to myself. I don't like to be in the crowds of the
Yeah.
masses. I'm not impressed about being in a big group of people. I'm one of
Mhm.
those people who will be in the back of the room, and I'm very happy to be in the back of the room because it gives me the opportunity to be able to see everybody else in front of me, and
Right.
I can
Take it
see
all
their
in.
career,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And being an empath, also, I don't do a lot of touching of a lot of people either. It's
Yeah.
something that I see things, and it's just something for me because of who I am and how I operate. I have to be careful. I have to
Yeah.
protect myself.
Right.
Some people are probably like, oh, you just think you just, whatever. For me, I'm over that. I'm over that because it's about me. It's about me protecting my space. It's about me being able to show up authentically as myself and being
Mhm.
okay that I'm not in the crowd or I don't necessarily want to be in a crowd. I like intimacy. Intimacy is
Yeah.
what helps me to unfold. Intimacy is what allows me to allow other people to be a part of my life.
Mhm.
For
Mhm.
me, those are the best engaging relationships
Mm.
possible because you can have a lot of facades of people saying, "Oh yeah, I'm family. I want to be family. Oh, I love you." But if when the rubber hits the road, you find out those people are
That's right. Yeah,
right.
that's
Can't lie.
right. That's right.
They don't even register on GPS anymore.
Yes, that's right. That's the truth. That is the truth. So, what happened after that? So you met Kathy.
I met Kathy and I talked to her about my book. And I told her, I said, well, I've pretty much already got it written. I had my photo shoot a long time ago, but that was just for
Mhm.
the transitioning of me telling my story of coming out of the hospital and what I had been
Okay.
through. And so I needed that for a reset because I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
And I didn't want people to
Makes
see
sense.
the other side. I wanted
Mhm.
them only to be able to see the transitioning side.
Yes.
But then I also had to unmask so they can understand
Right.
where I came
Yeah.
from and the
Yeah.
progression. And so this book is a 40-day journey to personal freedom and power. That's me. That's what I took. It took me
Yes.
40 days consistently. And then I did a pilot on social media with a group
Mhm.
of young ladies who had to write into me why they wanted to be a part of my pilot.
Mm. I
And
love
then
that.
I would choose accordingly to what I
Right.
felt in my spirit if they were going to stay the course
Yes. Yes.
to do it for 40 days because you had to make the commitment.
Yeah. It's work. Right.
Yes, it is work.
Yeah.
I sent each of them a journal. I love journaling.
Mhm.
So I picked out specific journals for each of the ladies according to what they wrote to me.
Mm. Nice.
I prayed over every single journal. I autographed it, but I autographed it with their message. What I
Mhm.
got out of what they sent to me, that messaging, I wrote it in the front cover of that journal for them as a
Yeah.
reminder.
Yeah. Oh
And
my
then I gave them
God.
love because I love
Yeah.
loving people to life.
Yes. Mhm. I love that. Oh, Veronica, that's so heartwarming. I mean, beyond, right? Like if someone did that for me, what that would mean to me personally, ooh, that's really beautiful. Now, did the nonprofit come after this, or was
Mhm.
that something you did before?
The nonprofit came before. So,
Okay.
yes, yes, my nonprofit is what is 20 years old now.
Wow. So you were already on the path.
I was already on that because
Yeah.
I'm a legacy kid.
Mhm.
So, being that my grandparents are into humanitarian stuff, I live in South Carolina, a rural area, King Street, South Carolina. The
Mhm.
little area that our farm was in is Neesmith, South Carolina. So, coming from South Carolina, where in that little small area, I thought nobody knew we existed except for those of us who actually are from there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I was like, okay, this is not on the map. Nobody's ever going to find us if something happened. We're just going to be out here. But
Yeah.
big farmland, right? We had tobacco farm, big old garden. My
Mhm.
grandparents used to sell their produce there in the market space,
Nice.
especially with the tobacco because of all of the cigarettes and snuff and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
right.
Big on that. So that's what we were about. But they also offered reform for some of the youth that would get themselves in trouble.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they offered the youth an opportunity to make money honestly, right? But it
Mm.
was hard work.
Yeah.
I wasn't special being that I was their kid. Like I was always dirty. And when I say dirty, I mean I worked really hard.
Right, yeah,
I
yeah.
learned how to crop and I was like, I'm not doing that because I'm like, oh, I gotta do that. I'm always gonna smell stinky. And that do offer that tobacco burns. I mean, it really burns.
Resin. Yeah, yeah.
And you get the gums on your
Oh,
hand and it's hard to get it off. And we're using the Brillo pads and all that kind of stuff.
oh my gosh,
Just
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
I learned how to drive a tractor. So that was I thought that was kind of cool because that's my tomboy side. We stringing tobacco. I was the one who would lay the sticks when I was smaller. I became
Mhm,
the accountant for the farm at that point because my grandmother's education did not go up to the high school level. But
mhm,
because we were in school, I was in school, then it was like, okay, well, then you're going to keep the books. You're going to figure out how to make sure you identify all the people who are working with us. If they weren't working for us, they were working with us. So all the people who
mhm,
were working with us, I would end up putting their names down, how much money that we had already budgeted out that we could pay out for a given week, making
mhm.
sure that we were doing checks and balances. Listen, I was like, I am not going to be an accountant for nobody.
you had that experience and decided.
Yes, I need to make money so I can hire me an accountant to get my business. Um, but it was beautiful. It was a beautiful learning experience. I worked hard when
Yeah.
cucumbers were in play, when it was time for that. We harvested a whole lot of cucumbers. I picked cucumbers like it was nobody's business. That bucket was heavy. My mom, my grandmother,
Yeah.
I call mom, she would be fussing because I'm dragging the cucumber bucket along. It is pulling up the vines. It's like, if you don't pick that
It causes more work.
up.
Oh, that's funny. So what made you bring the nonprofit into the world?
I brought the nonprofit into the world because my mom was a teenage mom. And
Mhm.
her parents are actually my parents by law because of my mother, my birth mom, not actually being on my birth certificate. Her
Okay.
parents are on my birth certificate.
Okay.
Yes. And so, because of the kind of love and support that I've always received from my
Mhm.
entire family, every
Yeah.
my mom's sisters, they're my sisters, but they're also my aunties.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, with that, and then going out and experiencing others as I left home to go to college, I would meet young ladies who had had kids as teenagers, and they would tell their stories about how they didn't have support. They would
Mhm.
tell their stories about how they had to give their kids away
Mhm.
and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And some of them kept them, but it was hard. And
Yeah.
they didn't see how they would be able to make it because the struggle was so real for them.
Right.
After completing college, or actually just before completing college, I met another young lady who was a part of an organization. And I asked if I could come and volunteer at that organization. And so, in volunteering at their organization, I can't say the name of it right now because it's because of their clientele.
Okay.
Right. And so
Yeah.
these were young ladies. They were young as 12 years old.
Mhm.
And there were two different facilities. One
Mhm.
was for the younger group of girls who had been impregnated. And they had one of the requirements to be in this program. You have to be homeless. You have to not have anybody who can come and take care of you in order to be a part of this program. You had to pretty much be a ward of the state.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so the older ones, they lived in a separate facility. Prostitution was something that they thought that they had to do in order to make money.
Mhm.
But after being a part of this program and being um, detoxified of all of that, it became you have to pick one of 2 to 3 tracks, which is you're going to go back to school, you get your education, you're going to get in a development program that's specifically designed for where you are to get
Mhm.
you to a trade, or 3, we're going to release you back out there for you to figure out what you're going to do because we want people in this organization that's going to be looking to do whatever they need to do,
Yeah.
not backslide and thinking that, okay, yeah, this is not going to work for me because I get faster money the other way.
Right.
Mm-mm. So
Mhm.
I volunteered and I helped them to create their first intake process with computers.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's awesome. That's a big deal. And so is that where you were inspired to start your own?
I was inspired. I was inspired before then, but I got more inspired because I needed something to get my hands wet to see what it's really like
Right.
for people who are going through that. Because see, that was not my story. I didn't go through that. I
Yeah.
had parents, grandparents who were all around me. I had so
Right.
much and still have so much support that I didn't have to worry. I didn't have those
Mhm.
concerns that they have. And I
Right.
wanted to know it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to inspire them because I'm that kid that
Yeah.
teenage mom was,
Right.
carrying, birth,
Yeah.
trying to figure out what was next. And I
Mhm.
wanted to encourage the moms who did not have the kind of support that my mother had to say,
Mhm.
listen, I'm the product. Your
Right.
child is the product.
Mhm.
They can still live a life, an abundant life. They don't
Yeah.
have to be downtrodden. They don't have to go through
Mhm.
the struggles. They can come up with a good story. They can
Right.
rise above all of it. And so can you. My
Mhm.
mom did it, but she had a
Yeah.
different kind of support. I want to offer the support. My mom was a heavy person who actually was putting cash in. She's like, okay, if you can see it and you need the help, I'll pour into you. So she
Yeah.
would give me the money when I didn't have the money to do
Wow.
it. And it became an hour thing.
Mhm, mhm,
And I
mhm.
kept it a private nonprofit because I didn't want somebody to tell me what I could not do.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. Well, especially because it was such a heartfelt, birthing of the nonprofit,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
I really relate to what you're saying. I mean, my mother was 18 when she had me,
Mhm.
and she had married my dad by the time I was born, but, technically she was still a teenager. She had 3 kids before she was 21,
Mm.
and, children raising children is a whole different experience as a child to have a mother who hasn't really fully developed.
Yeah.
And, so I think that what you're doing is so worthwhile and just really, life-changing. It's changing the world paradigm to not have to live women to understand that they don't have to accept the circumstances, and it doesn't mean that's who they are.
Right. Exactly. It's where you
Yeah.
started. Don't be afraid or ashamed of your story,
Yeah.
of where you
Yeah.
started, because everybody didn't start with a silver spoon in their mouth. Everybody did not start at the level of, okay, I got this. Some people did because of their family dynamics, but
Yeah.
others who haven't had that or don't have that, they
Yeah.
need something to pull on versus,
Mhm.
looking at other people and just going, oh, you know, wow, they're
Yeah.
so blessed. But so are you.
Right.
So are
Right.
you.
Mhm. I love that. I love that so much. I'd like to know, before we go, what you have coming up, what you would like people to know, what would you like to share? And please, everything that you share with me, I'll get the links from you. It will be in all of our notes.
Okay.
And so please let us know what's coming up for you.
Well, what is coming up for me? In the process right now, working with my brandologist. She's a
Mhm.
brandpreneur, rather. I keep calling her brandologist. She's going to pop me later.
I love
Um,
both those names.
my brandpreneur, she's working on setting up my website. So I have a couple of websites that she's going to be bringing to life for me. I've been
Mhm.
holding on to these things. I invest in a lot of things low key. So I've been holding on these things so that I can bring them to pass. It's going to be the Mothers of Virtue website is being revamped.
Okay.
And we're going to start having more retreats. I had paused for a while. It's
Mhm.
some will
Okay.
probably I'll have them a little different than I've done it before, because when I bring the teenage girls back into play, I really
Mhm.
want to be able to spend that time with them
Yeah. Yeah.
without anybody else necessarily needing to be in the room with them.
Right.
Because sometimes when we are grown, we have gotten into a certain posture. We feel like, okay, I don't want to be bothered, but I don't want them to pick up on anything like that. I will
Yeah.
deal with those who have that persona or feel like that in a different room. But with
Mhm.
the ladies, the young ladies, the teenagers, I want them in a specific room because I want to elevate them. I want to show them how to elevate themselves and
Mhm.
let them know that they don't have to be on welfare.
Right.
They can rise and be just as successful as they want to be, but it's going to take work. And it means being authentic. It means being okay, not being liked by everybody because you're doing some stuff that, I'm going with the crowd. Forget that. I'm not about a crowd person. It's not about
Right.
the crowd for me. And so if you give me that as a part of what you're doing or what you want to do, I can't. I can't get engaged. I can't engage because
Mhm.
it's going against what I believe and how I came up and what I truly feel that's going to be the best for those who are really trying to do something
Yes.
positive
Right.
without trying to make somebody else feel bad. For me, I can't do that tit for tat. I can't do anything that's going to be negative. It has to
Mhm.
be laced completely with positivity.
Mm. Can I comment on this really
Yes,
quick?
please.
Because what I hear you saying is there's a world in which you can take the hard lessons,
Mm.
the things you've learned, that grit that you gain, and turn that into gold.
Yes. A
That's
soulful pause and a
beautiful.
soulful praise. The way that you did it is just so elegant. I like it.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, it's such important work. It's really important work.
It's
And
so
yeah, I just really I I thank you for going through the experience you went through in the hospital and having those hallucinations, those conversations.
Mm.
And no, I don't know. I see that in a different way, which I think, I know you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you know, you know.
There you go.
And I just, that, I mean, and saying yes to it and stepping in, saying yes and stepping in over and over and over.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Because what you have for the world is really special.
What God has for the world through me,
Yeah.
indeed, is very special. I have to always give honor to the one that I align to,
Yes.
always,
Yes.
always. And that's my God up above.
Yeah. Yeah.
He pours down into me, and then I look for ways in order to forecast and do it for someone else.
Mhm.
Without that, it would not happen. Without Him, it would
Yeah.
not happen. Without Him, I would not be who I am. And I give Him all praise, all honor, all glory for all of that.
Yeah. Right. It comes alive through you.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to share? We'll put links to your books. What else would you like to share?
Okay, yeah, we can do that. We'll do links to the books. I will have to come back later or send you something later once my brainpreneur gets the
Okay.
website stuff up so that I can
Oh.
share. Projecting for 2025, individuals have already been reaching out to me to say, hey, when are you coming back to do the retreats? I
Yeah.
started them in Atlanta.
Mhm.
I've done them here in California. I plan to go back to Atlanta where it started.
Mhm.
In honor a very special woman that was in my life, Miss Sheila Rose, who used to, she's no longer here
Oh, I'm sorry.
physically, but I
Yeah.
can tell you this, I feel her in the spirit because of her, because of how soulful she was and how so embedded she was in my life. And she kept inspiring me and encouraging me
Mhm.
and telling me, you're never too small. You're never going to be too small. Stop listening to all the noise that's around you and just focus, Veronica. It's one voice, sweetheart. It's one voice. Keep
Mhm.
bringing it forward. Every move I made, and if I asked her to show up, she showed up. She was my prophetic person in the room. She could forecast things. I could touch her, and she could then tell me without me saying a word. And it was just so special. So
Yeah.
I will go back to where I started to honor her. And the ladies that have been asking me that have joined me from the very beginning, they want to come. I'm going to open up that space for them to be able to do that too.
Mm.
And then
No.
I'll just do them in different areas.
Okay.
Yeah, to
Okay.
make it easier for other people to show up.
Yeah.
It's on me to be the one once the space is secured for me to just go. And I love what I do from a professional perspective as well in corporate
Mhm.
America because I can work from anywhere, but it also allows me to touch other people's lives in a different manner. They would not see me coming in that way. And I love that part.
Yeah, I mean, what a vehicle to move you through, right?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay, well, we will be putting more things, there are gonna be more coming. There's more coming, and I think that when you get started again, you should come back.
I will.
So, I wanna thank you for being here and having such a heartfelt conversation with me. I really enjoyed, everything that we talked about, and I think that the world needs to know more about you, so thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I love the soulful praise as I'm so fully engaged. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Veronica. And everyone, I probably will pop on next week. I think it's the day after Christmas. So I'll give you a nice little welcome right before New Year's. So have a wonderful week, everyone. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week.